Hello, we are here today for our Property Standards Committee agenda for February 16th, 2023 at 10 a.m. at 60 Snyders Road in Baden, Ontario. The first item on the agenda is commencement. As we do not have a chair right now, the Deputy Clerk, Chad Curtis, will act as the chair. I have a recommendation that the Property Standards Committee convene at 10 a.m. on February 16th, 2023. May I have a mover and seconder? Moved by Wayne Roth, seconded by Blaine Blackhold. Carrie, vote. We have a mover and a seconder, so it automatically carries. Thank you. So now we're going to move to the second item on the agenda, which is the election of chairperson of the Property Standards Committee.
Mr. Curtis, I would like to nominate Ms. Millar for the position of chair of this committee.
Do you have a seconder?
I'll second that motion.
We have a vote. Carries. I will now turn over the agenda to Chair Molinar.
Does anyone have a disclosure of interest?
Does anyone have a pecuniary interest? Yep. Perfect. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and you can go to the hearing procedure.
So the next. Oh, where is it? Where's the next? So it's here? Okay. Chair will advise this meeting. The chair will advise that this meeting of the Property Standards Appeal Committee is being called to consider an appeal of the Property Standards Order issued by Township of Wilmot Municipal Law Enforcement. Staff pursuant to bylaw 200854 of the Township of Wilmot Property Standards Bylaw. My name is Julie Molinar, and I'd like to introduce to you Chad Curtis to my right, and to my left is Blaine and Wayne. And Ms. Erin Merritt, Manager of Municipal Enforcement, to introduce any other witnesses that are here today.
We don't have any other further witnesses at this time.
Okay. So the appellant, if they could introduce themselves today.
Hello, good morning. My name is Helena Holita. I'm the current owner of 24 William Street in New Hamburg, and I'm asking for a short extension on the for this meeting. I only got the notice on Friday, and the office was closed, so I couldn't pick it up till Monday, and I haven't had time to get all the information together for this appeal.
Okay.
And my fence was removed along the driveway yesterday, so I want to include that in my appeal. And dumped in the backyard.
Okay. Okay, thank you. This hearing is a formal process where those giving evidence will be sworn in before they do so. However, the committee tries to conduct the hearing in a relaxed fashion. Ms. Merritt will be asked to present evidence first, on behalf of the Township of Wilmot. Once she has finished her presentation, the committee members and the appellant may question the evidence of the Township of Wilmot. The chair shall note to the appellant that they are to be asking the officer questions and that this is not an opportunity for them to present their evidence. So at this time, do you have any evidence at this time to present? Yeah. Okay. Yes, I am. Sorry.
I'm not going to get an extension. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just asking if you have any evidence of.
I
I think you should ask Ms. Merritt to present her evidence first.
Okay.
I don't have all of it.
Okay. While you're doing that, we'll go to Ms. Merritt, and can you please present any evidence that you have at this time?
I can. Did you guys want to swear me in, or do you want me to just raise my hand and swear that I will provide truthful evidence before the committee today? Okay, thanks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give you an overview, like a timeline, as to our involvement. And by our involvement, I mean Township of Wilmot bylaw staff regarding the property at 24 William Street in New Hamburg. So on October the 3rd of 2022, our office received a complaint regarding the property at 24 William Street. The complaint was regarding the poor condition of the fence along the property line between 24 and 30 William Street and some debris in the rear yard. At this time, we heard that this issue had been ongoing for over 10 years about a dispute about this fence. However, this is my first involvement with this property, and the only matter we're addressing today is my involvement with the property and not stuff that happened before we became involved with it. So on October the 3rd, Officer Stephen Robb attended the property and completed an inspection. At that time, he noted that the fence was in poor condition with lots of screws and nails, numerous shrubs, trees, plants, pushing against the fence that helped to contribute to the decaying fence. There was also some debris scattered in the rear yard, which he noted. Officer Robb spoke to the owner, explained our bylaws, and that the fence would need to be brought into compliance. Nothing occurred as far as remedying these violations, so on October 13th, a notice was delivered by hand by Officer Robb, to which he received a copy of the notice. Again, no action had been taken to remedy these violations, so upon reinspection, a title search was requested and an order could be issued on the property. On October the 27th of 2022, an order was issued requesting that the dilapidated fence be removed, hedges, shrubs be maintained, and all yard debris removed from the property. On November 12th, well, kind of November 11th, I received a call from Mrs. Holida asking for an explanation what could be done. So at that time, I again explained our bylaws that under the order, she has the ability to appeal the order if she would like. She would need to write us a letter, just kind of explain the process as to what would happen. So then on November the 12th, we here at the Township received a formal appeal, which again was part of the information you had received. So at that time, once an appeal is received, the Township has to conduct a hearing before anything else can occur on the property, so any further action that could be taken. So because it was election time and changing things here, it took us a little time to get today's hearing and the committee together. So on February 2nd, the owner was notified of today's hearing via registered mail as per our property standards bylaw and the building code. That's when it was mailed to her, stating that an appeal hearing would be held today in council chambers at 10 a.m. Just before I conclude our timeline, I'd also like to advise that on December the 5th, the homeowner, Mrs. Holita, called me that sections of her fence were being removed by a neighbor. At that time, I advised, unfortunately, I am unable to do anything as I have to wait to the hearing. But if her property was being damaged, I advised she may want to call Waterloo Regional Police. At that time, police were called. An officer did attend. Officer Hamilton did attend. I was called just to find out what was occurring. So I again stated pretty much a similar timeline that I just presented to you as to what was occurring, and that I could not proceed with anything until an appeal hearing was heard. At that time, we were still trying to schedule an appeal hearing. From what I gather from the return call from Officer Hamilton, the owner of 30 William Street was advised he had to return the materials that were taken down. That's all the information I have at this time regarding that, but I just wanted to make you aware that this did occur on December the 5th. So right now, if we can just look to the screens, I'm just going to go over some photographs that were taken so that you can have a better idea of what I'm talking about and what was noted in the order. Sometimes pictures can say 1,000 words, right? So the first photo in front of you, this is standing, I'm standing at 30 William Street looking at the fence. So this is me pointing towards 24 William Street. The road at the top left corner is William Street. So this is the front of the house. So if you can turn it to the next photo, please. These are the sections. So right now we're just going down the fence line. As you can see, there's some shrubbery, some vegetation. What you can't see on the fence is it is leaning towards 30 William Street a bit. If you can go to the next picture, please. This is what this picture tried to show. Again, it's a little difficult to show, but you can see that the fence is an older fence. There is some rot in the wood. There has been some maintenance done over the years, multiple different like screws and nails. There's some fabric that's been put up as well. Looks to be over the years. If you can go to the next slide, please. This is at the back of the property. Again, the owner of 30 William Street has a small garage. This is behind that. So you can see sections of wrought iron and coverage that is beside the chain link fence that's in the rear yard. So that's, again, these photos are taken from standing in 30 William Street looking onto the fence. If you can go to the next photo, please. This is a picture of the rear yard and some of the debris that was noted in the notice and also the order. Some of it may not be debris or garbage. I believe that some of it is stuff for gardening. Anytime we write a notice or an order, we kind of list everything. And then if it's items that are, being used and stuff like that, we try to use some common sense. Maybe have the area kind of tidied up, things like that. So that's why things like that were noted in the notice and the order that was before you. If you can go to the next one, please. So we were just out to the property yesterday. I wanted to get some current photos so you can see what things look like today. So as you can see, we're looking up the fence line from William Street. The driveway that you see before you is the driveway of 30 William Street. So as noted, sections of the fencing have been removed. You can see that. You can see more of the vegetation that's there. The picture to my far right, the larger picture, is against the shed that I mentioned. And those sections of fencing have been taken down. You can see The vegetation that's there, what's left of it there. If you can go to the next photo, please. These are, so at this point, we're standing in the rear yard of 24 William Street. So the photo, the top right, the one that's kind of by itself, is looking onto the shed at 30 William Street. So you can see, you can still make out the chain link fence that's there. What we wanted to show is the items that are still in the rear yard. Because it's winter, some of the vegetation obviously isn't there. It's a little easier to see what items are there. If you can go to the next one, please. And again, these are just two other photos of the rear yard and what's in the rear yard right now. The fence that you see in the photo to the left, the newer fence, is the other neighbor's fence, so it's not the fence that we're talking about here today. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer anything you have.
Thank you. The next thing we'll do is, if you could provide your summations, and then the committee will retire to another room to make a decision. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Merritt? Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I have one question. Do we know when that higher section of the fence was removed?
By higher section, do you mean in the rear
The one
yard?
that had the lattice on it and that was really in bad shape.
So that was what was removed on December the 5th.
Okay, thank you.
To the best of my knowledge, it was removed by the neighbor.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I don't have any questions at this time. So I think we'll retire. Oh, sorry. Could 24 William Street, New Hamburg, please present your summations at this time?
Here you go.
I'm not sure what I'm doing here right now. What I had already asked for a postponement for a number of days, as I haven't gotten my papers together. And Aaron, when you
It's okay, just take your time.
pardon?
Take your time, it's okay.
When I spoke with you on Monday, was it Monday that you were?
Just yesterday we spoke.
Yesterday? That was when you were at the house?
Yes.
Okay, and the fence was down, Yes.
Yes, the fence was down since December.
And thrown into the backyard. And no. I wasn't able to take my medication this morning, so I am the fence that he, oh damn, I haven't even got it. The fence that he took down just the other day was the newer fence. It did those pictures that you had. That was the old fence that he took down and threw into my backyard in what is that now?
So that's the section of fencing that was in front of the garage of 30 that was taken down in December.
Yes, okay. And then there was another fence. Oh boy, see, October 28th, 20. See, that was, he removed all of that and threw it into my backyard, okay? And I put up another fence. Oh dear. And that's the newer fence. Put up a newer fence, and see, this is the newer fence. That was and this was taken the 8th of August 2013. Hang on a second. Oh, yeah, please. Oh, I can't open this. No, I got it now, I think.
May I speak? I'm not an official.
Sir, go ahead.
To expedite things, Ms. Zuma, you were familiar with the situation. Would it be more efficient if we were to allow Ms. Zuma to help her with this presentation? I'm not too sure of the protocol is certainly struggling. So I'm just looking for ways that we can maybe get the information a little more efficiently. So, Madam Chair, I'm just throwing that forward out to Mr. Kurz or to Ms. Merritt, if that would be appropriate.
Through the chair to Mr. Roth, if the committee wishes to allow someone to speak on the behalf of the appellant, I see no concerns for that.
I have no concerns for that. So who wants to first?
If you could just state your name for the record, and
My name is Yvonne Zima.
Miss Helena will have to give permission for you to speak.
Oh, yes.
If that's
yes.
okay.
Yvonne Gima can speak for me.
My name is Yvonne Zima, 28 Bleams Road East in New Hamburg.
Is that mic on? Is the mic on?
Yeah, and I have known Ms. Halida for decades. First through the library and then shared background. So she has been venting to me because of the ongoing situation with the neighbor. And I understand this is very complicated. I would like to respectfully submit that the stress that is being put on Ms. Halida due to some of the actions of the neighbor are putting her in a situation where I would say her health is at risk, okay? And what you're seeing this morning is an example of this situation. I have a message on my phone where she called me saying how upset she was because the neighbor had removed her fence and she didn't know where the pieces were at that time. So these are the kind of actions that, all of this aside, I want you to see the big picture here, because the relationship or lack of relationship between these neighbors is one of the reasons that we are sort of in this particular situation. So just so there is an understanding that this fence is not the only issue here, which is why there have been police called. The fact that the neighbor has seen fit to remove things that aren't on his property. This morning, I drove Helena this morning, just to be clear, because I didn't think it was safe for her to be driving herself. And while I was there, I was picking up bagged newspapers that had been thrown across the fence from the other side and thrown them back where they started. So there are ongoing issues. That is the underpinning of this. In this situation, we're also looking at the neighbor planning to install, it's not a garage,
Carport.
Carport, yes, a carport. And I believe that some of his actions are related to that particular thing. But doing it on your own property is one thing, doing it on your neighbor's property is another. And then having this stuff disappear and then suddenly dumped in the yard. So that's something as well. And I know that Ms. Halida was very upset because she called me. She said, I have this notice about a registered letter. And and this was Monday. So she had received the notice. You would have been faster walking to her place to deliver the registered letter, to be honest, because by the time it went through Canada Post, arrived at the post office, because we don't get door to door, some of us pick up our mail once a week. I do. If she picks up her mail once a week, and that just happened to show up, she got it on a Friday after the post office was closed, her next opportunity to actually pick it up was 2 days later. And those 2 days could have been days that she could have prepared and maybe be a little less calm and collected than we see now, because she's been in a panic ever since she received this letter. And this is all a culmination, which is why she was advised by you, Miss Aaron. She was advised by you that she could seek to have the meeting rescheduled because she did not feel at all prepared, and as you can see, she's not at all prepared. And it upsets me that she's now becoming like a spectacle because this is moving forward. There are also two different parts here. There's the fence, and then we're talking about what's in the backyard, okay? This is not a pristine, I have a beautiful lawn property. And I'm just wondering, is this all one thing? Or are we talking about whether she has shrubs that you don't like, or she's got prickly rose bushes in her yard or are we talking something that is related to this? Or are we talking two different things because they should be separated? Because you're showing the backyard, you're showing the fence. The fence has since been removed by the neighbor. The backyard, we're talking about what's there, what's growing there, what has been left there, what is there for future use. They're two separate issues in my mind. That's one thing. And I would just respectfully, submit that there is a lot more going on here than just a fence. So I don't know if that helps at all. It doesn't. I don't have any samples to present. I actually have pictures on a drive that I took with my phone, so not my phone, my camera, showing, what has been done by the neighbor to the property on the other side. That he has no right to trim the shrubs, he has no right to, So it may not be pretty, he may not like it, but he still doesn't have the right to go onto someone else's property and fix it to be more suitable to his liking, and thus damage, something that's been growing there since the 60s. That hedge has been growing there since the 60s, okay? And now half of it's gone. When I was there this morning, it's like wide open, right? And that wasn't done by Miss Halida. She's trying to have as much privacy and distance between her neighbor as possible. And he seems to be doing everything in his power to put things the way he wants and with absolutely no respect for his neighbor. So that's all I'm going to say, and as you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit upset because this has been ongoing, and I really, I hate to see what this is doing. And I think that's really sort of where I'm coming from, and I don't know if that's helpful, but there you go.
Thank you. At this time, does anyone have any questions?
Just stay there. Okay.
No one has any further questions at this time?
Just wondering whether the appellant started out asking for more time. Is that what you're asking, or is there something more that you're asking?
Actually, I have a lot of material. I just haven't had, because I have pictures of I did make improvements to the fence and everything, and I have pictures of that, and I just wasn't able to. to get everything compiled. And I just want, as I said, I didn't get to the post office, and I didn't pick it up until, because it was registered, until Monday. And sorry, I just want to have an extension to put, I'm going to pass out.
Can I ask a question here? How much time would you need?
I would like 2 weeks, if that's possible. 14 days.
Thank you. Any other questions at this time? Okay. Ms. Marin?
Can I ask just for clarification?
Yes.
Do you want the 14 days so that you're able to come back and present other things, or do you want the 14 days to do what you want to do at your home? I think, I just wanted to make it clear for everybody what exactly you're asking for. That's all, sorry.
The first one is to compile the information. The second one, I think I would need more time because it's depending on the weather.
That's why I wanted the clarification, because I just thought we're still in the winter months, although Mother Nature's been very nice this week. I'm assuming snow may be coming back, so that's why sorry to have overstepped maybe, but I just thought we needed that clarification.
Thanks, Ms. Merritt. Go ahead.
On finishing up the fence and whatever, do you have any estimate of time that you would require, like 30 days, 60 days?
Oh, as I say, it's probably 60 because it's a temperature variance, right? Because I can only, and with my rheumatoid arthritis, I can only do about 3 hours of work at a time. And I have been in touch with, what is it called, CCAC, or, okay. I have had some assistance from them to remove the previous fence. And then another fence, I have to check this out. I have a short-term memory problem, so I have to always look at paper, and that's another reason for the extension and everything else, because I didn't. I know I have a more current picture and everything of the fence, so I just need that extra time. And that's it. I just need it because of health problems.
Thank you. Any other questions from anyone? Wayne?
Well, Madam Chair, I can appreciate the need for time, although this issue has been ongoing for quite some time already.
It is
and
always...
I know that there are agencies in the community that would be of great help to Ms. Holita and her problem, and I'm sure Ms. Zima is aware of them. CCAC certainly comes to mind, which would be a huge, big help, I believe, in this situation. So I'm still not quite clear as to what the extension of time would accomplish, but sort of that's where I am. So I'm just putting that forward as a suggestion, and I'm sure that Ms. Holita, that Ms. Zuma would be able to help you with that particular avenue of help that is available to you.
Can I speak?
Thank you for that.
Pardon?
I was talking to him.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyone else have any questions? Go ahead.
I have forgotten what I was going to say.
May I?
Go ahead.
When I spoke with Ms. Holita back in November when she received the order, and I went over her options for appeal and things like that. At that time, what she had just mentioned, I had given her the number for Community Care Concepts, CCHC. Sorry, there's a lot of letters and things. And I said that these organizations may be able to assist, and I know you did reach out.
I did.
So it was trying to, again, help this situation. I don't know if you've talked to them recently.
Oh,
or not,
I did. They
but
came over, yeah.
yeah, so hopefully there is community organizations that can assist, so.
Thank you. Did
So-
you?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So for the compilation of the paperwork, that is the, what did I ask for that? 30 days for that extension for the paperwork to get this?
I believe you said 14 days for the paperwork?
Oh,
Is
did
that,
I thought it was 30 and 60.
Madam Chair, should those kind of decisions be made in camera, or?
no, we'll be retiring.
Pardon?
We'll be retiring to make a decision, yeah.
I'm just asking for some clarification out from Mr. Curtis and Ms. Mayor. Being new to this committee, would this be the appropriate time to go into the camera?
So, right now, we're just discussing if we wanted to give an extension, if I understand correctly. And to do that, we would just need a motion on the floor. We don't need to go into closed session to discuss an extension.
Clarification then, how would that notice of extension, what would that actually include? I'm just not quite clear as to what that would actually accomplish. So can either Ms. Mayer or Mr. Curtis, can you answer that, or?
Through the chair to Mr. Roth, the extension would allow the appellant ample opportunity to get her materials ready and present the timeline of events according to her.
Because excuse me. The one extension is for the paper materials. The second extension is for the property work because the weather is going to be very up and down. I mean, we may get a lot of rain, we may get snow. There is snow coming in the next several days from what I understand. And that's what the 60 days is for, because that would be April.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hypothetical question, if we gave you, say, 60 days to do everything, would you need to come back to this appeals committee in 14 days?
If you gave me the extension for everything,
Yes.
then I wouldn't have to come back in the 14 days.
I'm just asking if
No,
that would be
well,
suitable.
if I was given the timeline for the 60 days, then everything would be, everything and pictures and everything would be completed. with more current appropriate pictures.
Thank you. Any other questions from any, yes, Wayne?
Does staff have no concerns with that type of scenario? Ms. Merritt? Are you comfortable with that?
I guess if I can be frank, it's not my decision at this time, sir. I presented my evidence. That's up to you as the committee to decide.
I forgot to tell you, I had called the police yesterday, and there's a report, because that's when I noticed that the fence was gone. Okay, and they have a report with the, forgot to bring his name and everything. I can call that in if that works. I can call that in to you with the report number and everything.
I believe you were talking with Constable Lee. He spoke to
That's
me.
it, that's the one.
Constable
Yes.
Lee spoke to you yesterday.
Okay.
He called me to ask what was occurring.
Well, that's good.
So just to help you out, it was Constable Lee.
I think at this time, I think the Property Standards Committee will need to leave and go to another room to discuss a little bit, and we'll come back shortly to give you a decision.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, thank you. We will reconvene. At this point, I will now read the recommendation from the Property Standards Committee. Property Standards Committee has concluded that we will give the extension of 60 days to 24 William Street, New Hamburg, and as at that time, all aspects of the township order must be completed at that time. Can I have a mover?
I so move.
And second? Thank you, Lane and Wayne. So that is our decision, and you will be receiving this, this in writing within the next 30 days as well. You're welcome.
Is this a new committee, or are these the same? I don't think I've ever met you. I just want to use Curtis because it's...
I've been called worse through the chair to the appellant. I'm the deputy clerk here. I was hired in late August, so
Okay.
that's probably why you haven't seen me yet. And the committee this committee was created just for this meeting today.
It was what?
It was, this committee structure that we have today was just for this meeting today.
Oh, just for this meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
The Property Standards Committee will now adjourn at 11:10 a.m. Mover?
Also move.
Seconder? Thank you.